Hi everyone. So in this video we're going to do exercise 1.4a number 39, 44, and 45. So here's the first one. 1.4a number 39. So we have a mixed number, which is a whole number with a fraction together with it, divided by another mixed number. So the first step for this one is we're going to change those mixed numbers into improper fractions. So our first one, 2 3/4. We're going to take 4, multiply it by 2, that gives us 8, and then you add 3, and that gives us 11/4. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 1 is 43. 6. Notice the denominator stays the same. You multiply these two, and then you add whatever's on the top. That's how you change it to an improper fraction, okay? Now, fractions, we don't divide fractions. What we do is we keep the first one the same, and then we multiply by the reciprocal of the second one. We take the second one and we flip it over like that. Now, at this point, we could just multiply straight across the top and the bottom, but then we would end up with a number that we would have to simplify at the end. It's easier to simplify at this point than it is to simplify at the end. So we're going to simplify here. 11 and 42, there's not really anything we can divide both of those by evenly, but 6 and 4, we can divide both of those by 2. So we're going to divide them by 2. And we get 3. We divide this by 2 and we get 2. All right. Now we have 11 times 3 and 2 times 43. That gives us 86. And that is our answer. So our next problem . All right, for this problem it says, if you drive 280 miles on 12 gallons of gas, how many miles per gallon do you get? So we know that we're driving 280 miles, and we know we're using 12 gallons of gas. And our question here is they want to know how many miles per gallon. Now, when you have a question like this per right here, that means divide, or the division line, right? So what they're looking for is miles per gallon, like that. They want the answer to be in miles per gallon. So we have 280 miles, right? And we have 12 gallons. So we divide those, 280 divided by 12, that goes in 2 times. And we have 4 left over. And then 12 goes into there 3 times. 36, subtract, and we have 4 left over. This is going to keep repeating. See, we had 4 left over here. We put a 3 there, we got 36, and we got 4 left over again. Bring down another 0, that gives us 40. We'll put a 3 there. It's going to keep going 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. It's going to be a repeating decimal. So instead of writing the 0.33333 repeating decimal, you can write it as a fraction by just stopping here and saying 23 is our whole number, and then take this number, put it on the top of the fraction, and this number goes on the bottom. So we have 23 4/12, which can be simplified into 23 1/3. Okay, so that is our answer right here, 23 1/3 miles per gallon. All right, now our next problem continues on with this question. So if you drive 280 miles on 12 gallons of gas, and gas is $3.20 per gallon, how many miles per dollar do you get? So we know that it's 280 miles, we know it's 12 gallons of gas, and we know it's $3.20 per gallon, right? So we've already figured out that for 280 miles and 12 gallons of gas, that we would be we would be going 23 1/3 miles for every gallon of gas. So you use up a gallon of gas, you drive 23 1/3 miles, right? Now, we know that 1 gallon of gas cost $3.20. So that is dollars per gallon. Now, when we have like miles per gallon and dollars per gallon, we're saying this is how many miles you go for 1 gallon, right? And this is how many dollars you spend for 1 gallon, right? So if this is how many miles you go for 1 gallon, and this is how many dollars you go for 1 gallon, if we take this number and divide it up into this many parts, then we'll know exactly how many miles we go for $1. Okay, let me say that again. So we know that this is how many miles we go for 1 gallon of gas. And this is how many dollars we spend for 1 gallon of gas. So if we take these number of miles and we divide it up by these number of dollars, because these are both for 1 gallon, then we can figure out exactly how many miles for $1. Okay, so we're going to divide here. Now, if you didn't know if you were going to divide or not, because this is a little confusing. People usually get to this point and go, I don't know if I'm supposed to multiply or divide. Let me show you a real quick trick that can help you figure out whether you're supposed to multiply or divide at this point, okay? We're going to use our units here, miles per gallon and dollars per gallon. Let's say, I don't know if I'm supposed to multiply or divide. Let me try and see if I'm supposed to multiply or divide. So I'm going to take my units here, miles per gallon, and I'm going to multiply by the units down here and see if my answer gives me the correct number of units. Notice I'm not multiplying any numbers at all. I'm just going to multiply the units. So miles times dollars is going to give us miles times dollars. I've never heard of miles times dollars, but that's okay. And gallons times gallons is going to give us gallons squared. Miles times dollars divided by gallons squared. Are those the units that we are looking for? Look, how many miles per dollar? We're looking for miles per dollar. That's the units we want our answer to be in. And miles dollars per gallon squared is not the units we want our answer to be in. So we're probably not going to multiply. Okay? So let's try the same thing, but with dividing, so we can see if we're supposed to divide. Miles per gallon divided by dollars per gallon. Now, when we divide fractions, we keep the first one, and then we multiply by the reciprocal of the second one, gallons per dollar. So we flip that one over. All right. Now, in this case, we have gallons here and gallons there. Those two are going to divide to 1. So those are gone. And then, so all we have left on the top is miles times 1, which is just miles. And then dollars times 1, which is just dollars. So we end up with miles per dollar. Miles per dollar. That's exactly what we want. So we know that we need to divide, not multiply. Multiplying gives us the wrong units. That's not what we want to do. Dividing gives us the correct units, so that is what we want to do. Okay? See how the units are kind of nice? They kind of tell you what you're supposed to be doing. They're kind of cool that way. So now that we know what we're supposed to be doing, let's do it. We have 23 1/3 miles per gallon, and we have $3.20. We're going to change this right here into a fraction, so we can just use fractions. 0.20 is actually 1/5. You can find that by putting 20 over 100 and then simplifying it, and you'll get 1/5. Okay? So we're going to just write this as equal to 3 1/5. All right, 3 whole and 1/5 is our fraction. So now we're going to divide. Let's see, make sure I have enough room here. 23 1/3 divided by 3 1/5. We have mixed numbers. We're going to change them to improper fractions. 3 times 23 is going to be 69 plus 1 is 70 over 3 divided by 15, 16, 16 over 5. I just did 5 times 3 plus 1. That's 16 over 5. So remember when we divide fractions, we'll keep the first one the same. We change this to multiplication, and then the second one gets flipped over. Okay? Now, at this point, we're going to do some simplifying so that it's easier. We don't have to simplify our answer. We can simplify here. 3 and 5, there's nothing we can divide both of those numbers by, but 70 and 16 can both be divided by 2. So 70 divided by 2 gives us 35, and 16 divided by 2 gives us 8. So then we have 35 times 5. I cannot do that in my head. I'm going to go off to the side and do it over here. 35 times 5, that's 25, 15, 16, 17, it's 175. Okay, over 3 times 8, which is 24. All right, so I have 175 over 24. This is an improper fraction, so we're going to make it into a mixed number so we can see really what's going on here. So we're going to take 175 divided by 24. 175 divided by 24. Let's see. It's almost close to 25. 25 would go into 100 4 times and 75 3 times. Close enough that we're going to say, oh, that goes in 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16. And then we're going to subtract. We have to borrow here. That becomes a 6. And we end up with 7. So at this point we have 7 whole and then 7 left over 24. So that's going to be our answer. 7 and 7 24ths. And we know that our answer is in miles per dollar, because we already figured out the units right here. Okay, so $7 and 7/24 of a dollar. That's how many dollars per every mile. That's how many miles you go for every dollar. Sorry, which makes a lot more sense. So for every dollar you spend, you're going to go about 7, almost and a half miles. All right.